Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. It is always such an honor to know that you're joining us on Sunday mornings. And I just wanted to give you a quick reminder, if you haven't already, please just look down below on your Facebook page there and click that like button for Earth and Sky Center. Or if you're watching us from YouTube, go ahead and scroll down just a little bit and click that subscribe button. And today we are going to be talking about focus. Have you ever noticed that in your life things will sometimes go in phases, and sometimes it might seem like there are a lot of people that have the same type of personalities or the same types of things going on with them all at once, or sometimes it'll seem like things are just happening in your life and they're all falling into place all at one specific time, or certain things are coming to your life and they all have kind of this same type of feel to them. Well, we're going to talk a little bit today about focus and how what you focus on is what you create. Sometimes we have those patterns where it feels like everything is going wrong all at once, and no matter what, communication is wonky, or things aren't getting done at the right time, or there's always something extra that's popping up. And then we have those other times where it feels like, man, everything is falling into place. It's all on the right timeline. Everything is flowing. I love all the people in my life. Have you noticed that we go through
Phases of things, yeah.
And it seems like focus
tends
to be a big part of that.
Well, they seem to come in groups, but when something happens, yeah, it does seem like you're thinking of that one thing, and suddenly you notice it again, and you notice it again.
Right. And have you ever noticed that it seems sometimes you can actually shift your focus a bit, and then it seems like all of those things that were happening a certain way
Happen a different way.
Right. And I think a lot of that has to do with focus, and a lot of it is what you're looking at, what you're paying attention to. I want to address 4 different things tonight regarding focus: goals, people, self, and issues.
Okay.
So let's start with goals and focus. So I love, one of my favorite things that I say a lot, that I've talked a lot through the center about, is you can create your own destiny. You can manifest your dreams, and you can choose what you want in your life. A big part of that is focus, focusing on what you want, focusing on naming what it is you want, making a list and writing down what your requirements are, what you want. And then when you focus on that, then you can draw that in and you can cause that to happen, because our thoughts are telepathic and magnetic. What you think goes out into the atmosphere, and you're creating it on an etheric level first, and the more you focus on it, you're drawing it down until it's on the material level right in front of you, something you can touch, taste, feel, have, part of your life.
Yeah.
So when you have a goal and you're just starting, let's say you have a brand new goal and you're wanting to create something, how would you use focus to help you get to your goal?
Can I start with, you say etheric level, and that's, to me, that seems a little
Out there a
out
little?
there. Yeah, that's not, I mean, it's just, especially with the focus. I mean, a lot of what you say I follow with, because I just accept on certain things, but that specifically, like, for me, focus it's one of those things, to get somewhere, you have to find the path.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the path isn't always obvious. Sometimes you can only see a couple steps ahead of you, but it takes that focus of knowing where you're going to find that path. So to me, it's like, I don't think of it necessarily as creating it theoretically, but at the same time, I mean, I think it gets there in the same way, in the fact that the path is there, you just don't necessarily see it. And
Yes.
so when you focus, you can find the path as you're focusing, and it gets you there because you're focusing on a specific ending. So, I mean, same thing.
Same thing, just different words.
Different words,
exactly.
exactly.
Yes.
So when I'm starting a goal, what do I focus on? Is that what the question was?
How would you use focus to get your goal?
Well, that's what. So it depends on what the goal requires, I guess. I mean, if it's a project, you either focus on breaking it down into steps. If there's a large project, if it's a goal for, let's say, money, I would find a way, where are things that I can acquire money, or where I surround myself in things that have money, so that, the chances of acquiring money raise. If it's trying to, well, like what kind of a thing were you thinking as a goal specifically?
Like for somebody with a job, for example,
Yeah.
or wanting to start a new business. even.
Okay.
So if you're wanting to start a new business,
Well, if you're wanting to start a new business, so you focus on first the end goal of what you want the business to be. So.
and that's the exact key that I was trying to get
Okay,
towards.
that was your.
So you focus on what your end goal is, and then you decide that that's what you want, and you see where you can see that in everything around you. So if it's a relationship, then you focus on what that end goal is what do you want to see in a relationship, and then you put that out to the universe and you draw that to you. And if you, same thing with starting a job, sometimes.
Like you creating the space for it. So like if you want a
Exactly.
specific type of relationship, you open that space up around you for this is how my life is going to be with the relationship. Or if it's a job, you open up so you start creating you wear the right clothes, which creates the space for you to get into that job and things like that.
Exactly,
Okay.
and creating space is a huge part of that too, because anytime we want to bring anything into our lives, we have to create space, we have to eliminate, get rid of, open, let go, so we have room for the new to come in. And so when you have to first focus on what you're letting go of, let go of that, and then you focus on what you want to bring in. And you zero in on, that's what I want to bring in, or that's what I want to bring in, and you draw that into you. But you have to create space first.
To get to it.
And
Yeah.
the only way you create space is you figure out what it is you're letting go of.
What you're changing.
And the only way you can create exactly what you want is by focusing and naming what it is. So many people really don't know what they want too.
Specifics.
Very specifics, right? They know the feeling that they want to have from it, or the sensation that
Yeah.
they want to create. They know they want to be happy. Well, what would
What
make
is-
you happy?
What is happy? Yeah, happy is a sensation, not a place, not a economic, physical, whatever situation. It's a feeling.
And the
so
same thing with love. They want to feel love, but what does that actually mean?
how do you feel?
What
loved?
does that mean?
Yeah, what do people do for you or with you or to you that make you feel loved?
Right, and they want money. Well, what's enough money?
Yeah, well, and what are
What
you
does
going to
it
do
mean
with
to
it?
you?
Yeah, if you get an enormous bank account that you actually don't have access to, but your name's on it, you have a bunch of money.
Right, so none of those things are the end goal. None of those are the final, this is what I want to create. So you have to really zero in and narrow down, what is it I want to create in my life? What do I want to have? What will fulfill me inside? And then you focus on that. I find writing to be really, really powerful. You
Yes.
find typing to be very powerful.
I'm better at typing. Yeah,
But-
much better.
But yeah, I think that when you write it down, that also helps give you clarity of what it is you want. Because when you take the time to write it down or type it,
Or
I
type it.
suppose, then you're
You're
figuring
type.
out what it is that you really want, and you can narrow down and you can name and define and describe. And nobody should tell you what limitations you should have. Nobody should tell you to
Absolutely.
settle for something, or nobody
Absolutely.
should tell you you're not worth something, because you are. And
Well, and even if they say it, if you don't focus on it, it doesn't matter.
exactly, exactly. And that brings us back to, so focus, define what it is that you want. And then a lot of times with people, Jage and I were talking about this recently, we've talked about this off and
A
on
lot.
throughout the years. But with people, I'll let you start this
No,
one.
you start. You
Okay.
This is yours.
Okay, so with people, it's really interesting because people are often mirrors for ourselves. And we have this conversation so often, it seems. But when you see negative things in people or things that drive you crazy about somebody, a lot of times those are things
It
that
is
are
you.
within
It is
yourself.
you. Yeah, that's absolutely.
It's so
It's
fascinating.
amazing how often people go, can you believe they do this? Why would they do that? And it's, well, you do that.
And
But
the same,
yeah, and
the
it's
same
a-
thing with positive
And
things
that's
too.
absolutely. And then the things that they
Things
go,
that you really like,
"That's
that you're
exactly
drawn
right."
to in people are
They
often
go,
that,
the thing that you like about yourself.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And it's,
Well, and the same thing with what you see. Usually when you see someone that you find attractive, they usually look somewhat like what
like you.
look like.
Yeah,
Yes.
they've done studies on that, and it's so interesting because they find that
Well, it's
the,
what you stare at in the mirror every day, so it makes
Yeah,
sense. That's
that's
what
true.
you would think is
that's true, yeah, yeah.
right. for
yeah,
you.
not always, but quite often.
Yeah, yeah.
And so often you can look around and you compare people.
Yeah.
Saying, these
Well, that's
people
what-
look like they, I bet they're
One of
a
my
couple.
favorite pastimes in the grocery store.
Yes, yes,
Is
yes.
when people are like, if we're doing the groceries and stuff, when we're in there, and you can see people walking around doing their thing, and I go, he's with her, he's with him, she's with him, you know.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, and it's funny, the longer people are together, whether it's friends or relationships or whatever, often there's this merging that happens too.
Yeah.
And you'll see where they will pick up each other's character traits and pick up each other's aspects.
Eating habits.
And it's really interesting to watch. And we see this even with animals. Sometimes you'll be able to see, I love the dog walk, when we would do the Davison dog walk.
Yeah.
It was so fun to watch people with their dogs and how often the owners matched their dogs.
Yeah.
It was really fascinating
they
to
really,
watch.
that even ticks and things, like pausing in the way they walk, or if they look around instead of just looking. Like there was one I remember specifically where there was a lady who had, I think it was either a golden lab or a golden retriever, but when she would walk, she kind of had and she just had this, she would jerk sometimes and look and then just keep walking, and the dog did the same thing. The dog would be like looking around, all of a sudden, da-da-da-da-da, what? Oh, and I was like, no way, that's awesome.
And that's that energy that you
Yeah.
emit too. And animals are so sensitive. Some people are more sensitive than others too.
Yeah,
but we all
absolutely.
pick up on energy from everybody else. That's where sometimes you'll be around somebody and you get a certain feeling, whether it's a warning feeling or a good feeling or whatever. You'll pick up on different feelings because that comes back to the electromagnetic field that's around us. It's also called the aura, but it's an electromagnetic field that encases us and that we all connect to, and through that we are all connected with each other.
So when you're calm, the people near you are calm. When you're anxious, the people around you end up getting anxious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a great way to be able to impact animals if you're around dogs
That's
that are
calm
a
is
little
the good way.
if you're around dogs that are a little hyper, if you just calm yourself, use that meditation breath that we work with all the time and calm yourself, and that energy will radiate out because that's the energy you're focusing on, and that energy then becomes telepathic and it's magnetic, so it reaches out to everybody around you. And when you focus on that, then you're expanding that within your own life too, through your whole life. You know, the more you meditate, the more calm energy you will have in yourself. The more you meditate on manifesting and creating, the more you're going to see change happen, and the things you're focusing on are creating and happening in your life.
Well, specifically in that, side note, is I'm one that I have a tendency, speaking of focus, that when something irritates me, bothers me, upsets me, or whatever, you know, I have a tendency, I can't really let it go all the time, and so I will focus on it for a really long time. And I will focus on it, I will go to bed thinking about it, I will wake up thinking about it. But since I've started, like in the mornings, I do my meditations in the shower where I just calm my mind. But in doing that, lately I've found that it is like a reset button. And so by the time I come out of it, you focus so hard on the meditation, everything else falls away. And in doing that, everything's just calm. So when I get out, it's just like, and it's finally gone. You know, I don't have to think about it anymore, and it's great. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and that's where meditation is so useful because it brings you back to your calm center. It brings you back to your natural state of being. Your natural state of being is one that is full of health, is full of vigor, is full of joy, and is full of peace.
Yeah.
And so when you take time to meditate, especially in the morning and the evenings, both of those times are really great for meditation. It brings you back to that peaceful state, which is where you can then decide what your focus is. And that storm that happens in life, that storm that happens around you where things are irritating or chaotic or, you know, all the different things that come at you. When you take time and you meditate, you come back to your calm center and all of that storm just falls away and you choose your focus. If you're swept up in the storm, then you're focusing on whichever way life has turned you in whatever direction
the wind blows.
Exactly, and that's not always the best focus too, especially for a lot of people. They'll get caught up in the negative focus,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you know, this is irritating, this is bothersome, this isn't working right. Well, when you start doing that, then you're attracting more and more of that to you.
Negativity. Well, and even if you're not, even if you weren't pulling it towards you, which you do, but even if you weren't pulling it towards you, that's all you're seeing.
Right.
So
and
even
you might
if you
have a lot of
even
good
if you have great
happening on.
positiveness around you, you're missing it because all you're so focused on the negative. Well, it's like when
Perfect way to describe
like when you
it.
buy a new car. You buy a new car, you don't see very much. And so you buy this car, you really like the car, and suddenly you're out on the road and that car is everywhere. Now, did those cars suddenly appear? Everybody went out the same day you did and bought those cars and suddenly
Right.
you're surrounded in that? No, of course not. But you never focused on them before.
Right.
Now they're everywhere because that's what you focus on. It's amazing how much we miss all the time and how many variations of everything is out there that we miss until you go looking for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's where you can choose to fill your life with whatever it is you focus on.
Because it is out there.
That was such an interesting wake-up call. That was when we bought our car. Was we had never seen the Sonics anywhere. It was a relatively new car.
We were like,
and,
what a cool looking car.
and suddenly
oh
same
my-
color, same model everywhere.
I had no idea. Everybody on the planet bought the same car the same
Today.
day we did. It was amazing. I was shocked.
Yeah, I think maybe we'd been sharing the road with those cars.
Never. I would
And
have
we just had
noticed.
missed it.
I would have noticed
So how many things in your life are you possibly missing?
that are there
They're right next to you.
at all times. No?
Exactly. Take the blinders off and focus. Come back to that calm center within yourself and regain your focus. And
And-
that's so empowering too, when
and I
you
think
regain
that-
your focus.
And I think that reiterates the fact that, people are like, well, no, I don't have blah in my life. I don't have whatever in my life.
Right.
Well, until you're absolutely focused on getting it, you actually can't know if it's there. I mean, no matter how hard we tried, we probably would have never seen the Sonics
Right.
until we actually were focused on that. When it's subconscious, it was handed to us, which is a kind of a shortcut to it.
Exactly. And sometimes you'll see this with siblings that grow up in the same household too, yet they have completely different experiences.
Yeah.
They may be even just a few years apart from each other and feel like life was so different and so unfair and so lacking for one sibling, while the other sibling feels like life was great. I had everything handed to me. I had a wonderful family. They were raised the same. They had the same opportunities. They were fed the same foods.
Yeah.
Yet their perspective is completely different. And that happens often.
All the time. Well, it's because of what the person
What are you
focuses
focusing on?
That's
Exactly.
right.
Yes, yeah. And so relating to the self, well, a lot of that actually relates to the self
Yeah,
too.
we
So
covered.
you relate it to people and then you bring it back to yourself and you figure out, how can I change? How can I empower myself and make these choices instead of having the storm sweep me up or having biological or chemistry or whatever dictate what I focus on? How can I empower myself?
How can I choose?
And by doing that, then you're able to clear up a lot of issues. Everybody has different issues that we are here to deal with in life, different psychological issues or traumas or,
Right.
whatever it is. We
Whether
have all
it's
these,
Pain, people, emotions,
We have-
challenges.
right, everybody has certain issues. And so you can use this empowerment where you know that you have that ability within yourself to choose what you focus on, and you figure out who you are by focusing in on yourself first. That's one of the really big keys, is to focus on yourself instead of focusing on how this person did this to you, or whether good or bad, and that person did that and this happened to you. Instead of that, go, okay, meditate, calm, center. What's going on with me? How do I feel? What's going on within me, within my heart, within my mind? And what do I want? And it really comes down to defining what it is you want. Write that down
Specific.
and then focus on that. And then through that, you'll also be able to start addressing some of those issues that you have. Do you feel like you were unloved as a child? Do you feel like you've been slighted by a spouse? Do you feel like job prospects just aren't available to you?
Or every time you seem to get a chance, it's yanked out from under you.
Right, maybe
or-
you're always the second one called and not the first, or
Right,
whatever these
right.
issues are, you have the power within you to
Yeah.
change that. You have that ability within you to literally manifest your destiny, to literally create what you want in life. And a lot of that comes back to focus. Focus on yourself. Focus on how you can heal those issues, how you can heal the hurt and the wounds within yourself, and pull yourself up out of that. Stop focusing on those issues. Decide what you want and pull that out of yourself and start focusing on what you want and create it, claim it, know that it's yours now. We've talked about affirmations too, where you claim it and you know that it's yours now. And so really bringing that focus up.
Absolutely.
And in the dictionary, the definition of focus, there were a few things. The center of interest or activity is the first definition. And so when you think about what your focus is, that's pretty much the center of the activity in your life.
And what you're interested in mentally, what you're mentally engaging, your interest.
Exactly. You choose your focus, and that's where all the activity is going to happen in your life. If you don't choose your focus, what you're focusing on is still the center of activity.
Yeah.
So choose your focus.
So choose wisely.
It was also the state or quality of having or creating a clear visual definition. And that comes right back to where I'm saying, define what it is that you want. Define what you want in your life. Make it really clear. Make it a clear portrait. Look at it every day.
See it in your head, make it a real thing.
Exactly. If it's something you really want, put it on a post-it on your bathroom mirror so you're seeing it all the time and you're claiming it that way. And then also, if you look at it as a verb, its focus is to adapt to the prevailing level of light and become able to see clearly. So this is where sometimes we need a little bit of flexibility. We need to be able to adapt to the situations that are happening in our life and adapt ourselves. So if our focus has been here, we really want to be here, then adapt and be flexible. Pull yourself back, bring yourself back into yourself, find your calm center, and then go, this is where I'm focusing, that's where I'm heading, and I'm claiming that for myself. So
And it says, and it's basically using the light that you have is the definition. And that light, if light is your resource to what you want, use what you have to get where you want to see yourself.
Exactly, because that light is within you. We are all beings of light. And sometimes you need to open a window and shine a light in on it too. Sometimes you might feel like things are a little bit bleak or a little dark and it's not where you want to be. So you figure out, where can I let some light into my life? Is it somebody new I want to bring into my life? Is it
somebody old I need to get out?
Right. Is it someone I need to reconnect with that I haven't talked to in a long time?
Yeah.
Or if maybe it's not even related to people. It might be you just need to open the doors and the windows in your house, literally,
Physically.
and let the light in and
Yeah.
change up that stagnant energy and allow the energy to start to flow. So let the light in and then find your focus from there. And then the third one was, as a verb, focus is to pay particular attention to. And that pretty much summarizes everything
thing.
we've been saying about focus, paying particular attention to what it is that you want to create in your life. And notice, I really want to emphasize again what you were saying with noticing where your focus is. How do you feel your life is right now? Would you use a lot of positive terms about what your life is right now? Or would you use a lot of negative terms about what your life is now? Take some time this week to really think about that. Think about what those terms are. And then where do you need to take your power back and pull your focus up and turn your focus a little bit into seeing the light that's in your life, because there is, for each of you, I know there is a lot of light in your life. And if you don't feel like you're seeing it right now, then I encourage you to pull back a little bit, pull your head up, open the windows and the doors, and then look around and see where you see light in the world too. Maybe it's the smile of a grocery store clerk. Maybe that's the first light that you see, or maybe it's seeing the birds coming in for the summer. It might even start small like that, and then
Go find a puppy.
Exactly, and go to the shelter and pet some dogs and kittens.
There you go.
That will bring a smile to anybody's face, and so.
That's
And
an
that-
easy light for me.
And that's actually another great example too, even with rescue too. As I work with a lot of people with rescue,
Yeah.
and this is a big one for focus because there are some people that
Oh.
focus on all the heartbreaking stories, and
Oh.
we get what's called compassion fatigue and burnout because you hear all of these horrible stories.
And everybody wants to one up the horrible story of the person before them.
And so instead of that, what we try to do is focus on the good, focus on the positive adoptions, focus on the people who really love their animals. I've been in that space sometimes where I just felt like I didn't want to do anything with any other animals because there's a lot of cruel people out
Yeah.
there. So I got on Facebook and I asked my friends to please share their stories of how they love their animals. And I
What
found,
do they do?
wow, there really are a lot of people that
Yeah.
care about their animals
Yeah.
and that do keep them, through
Well,
old age, and they
yeah.
do take them to the vet, and all of these
And they
things.
do bring them in out of the snow.
And I think they do outnumber the other people. I think
I
the
honestly
other
think they
people are
do.
the loud voices.
Yeah.
And
Well, they're the
sometimes,
ones we focus on because it's so horrible.
right, and sometimes that negativity becomes the squeaky wheel
Yeah.
too. Just like in a set of a family where there are several kids, the one that's getting in trouble all the time might be the one that's getting the most
All the
focus.
attention. Yep.
And then another example at the shelters, there are some people that say, oh, I could never go volunteer at the shelter, I could never go pet the puppies and kittens because I would feel so terrible for them being there. Well, instead of that, think about the fact that those animals are getting adopted.
Yeah.
They're on their way to a new home, they've got a second chance on life. And if you go in and you spend an hour a month at the shelter, you're making a difference in each of those animals' lives. If you spend an hour a week there, just brushing the cats or walking the dogs, you're making a huge impact in those animals' lives. And by doing that, you're making them more adoptable because they're getting more social and they're feeling better about themselves. So then you're helping them get adopted into good homes where people will take good care of them. And so it's really about what you focus on. So focus on the positive, see what you can do to help, and think about what you can create. So with that, I will leave you to think about your assignment for the week, which is to see where your focus is and make a list even of, are you using negative adjectives or positive adjectives in your life? See what outweighs the other, and then bring yourself up, allow that light to shine within yourself and choose your focus, empower yourself. Have a great week. I hope you'll join us for meditation in just a moment. And remember to click that like button on our Facebook page and hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Thank you.